High in the canopy, the black howler monkey reigns supreme. Silhouetted against the sky, he moves with purpose among the branches. He throws his head back, unleashing a roar that echoes for miles. His throat sac expands, projecting his power across the forest. A moment of calm, he surveys his domain, dark fur, stark against the vibrant green. His eyes scan the horizon, ever watchful. Climbing with deliberate grace, he uses his tail as a fifth limb. Every movement is calculated, perfectly adapted to life in the trees. His call vibrates through the air, a declaration of territory. In the background, another monkey listens, acknowledging the king. Sunlight filters through, highlighting their interaction. One reaches out, hanging effortlessly, a dance of shadows and light in the canopy. The spider monkeys are the acrobats of the forest. Swift and agile, they swing through the limbs, pausing only to check their path. Vertical climbing is effortless for them. Long arms pull them upward, revealing the dizzying depth of the forest floor far below. A leap of faith, arms outstretched, silhouette against the blue sky, displaying the ultimate freedom of life in the treetops. Hanging by a tail, reaching for a snack. The dense foliage provides a feast, and he eats with the ease of a master forager. From below, they are shadows dancing in the light. Lanky figures moving against the piercing sun, ghosts of the high canopy. Speed is their defense. Hand over hand, they fly through the leaves, a blur of motion that the camera struggles to follow. The tail is a marvel of nature. Gripping tight, it supports their weight, a lifeline in a world where falling is not an option. Upside down, the world looks different. Hanging freely, he observes his surroundings with a calm curiosity, defying gravity. Launch and catch. A dynamic swing carries him to the next branch, a seamless flow of energy and precision in the air. Family is everything. They sit together, a portrait of peace in the wild, looking back at us with intelligent eyes. Grooming strengthens bonds. Delicate fingers pick through fur, a ritual of care that cements the social fabric of the troop. 3. Toucans perch, hide their beaks like jewels against the blue. A splash of color in the monochrome of bare branches. Zoom in on nature's masterpiece. The keel-billed toucan, a riot of green, orange, and red, turns its head sharply. Backlit by the sun, the beak glows. Translucent colors shine, revealing the delicate structure behind the vibrant display. Preening is a delicate art. Despite the massive beak, the touch is gentle, keeping feathers in perfect condition for flight. Texture and color. The keratin structure is revealed in extreme detail. A slight opening of the beak helps him cool down. Peekaboo, a head, emerges from the hollow. Safety first, checking left and right before venturing out into the open world. Social hopping. The flock rests together, moving heavily between branches, a gathering of colorful characters in the emergent tree. Snack time. With a toss of the head, the fruit disappears. A dynamic display of feeding efficiency in the wild. Bouncy and heavy. The toucan hops, a clumsy contrast to the graceful gliders, yet perfectly at home in his domain. The call of the toucan, head bobbing, throat ruffling, he croaks his presence to the forest, a sound of the tropics. Taking flight in slow motion, short wings beat the air, revealing a hidden flash of red as he leaves the perch. A darker cousin, the chestnut-mandibled toucan sits in the shade, regal and calm, a different beauty in the canopy. The cycle of life. Seeds are dispersed, a vital role played by the bird, ensuring the forest grows for generations to come. Gliding over the green ocean, the drone reveals the transition from bright treetops to the mysterious dense layers below. Hidden in plain sight, at first just bark, then a shape emerges. The great horned owl, master of camouflage, revealed. Mottled feathers blend perfectly with the wood. He sits motionless, a silent sentinel of the forest. Those yellow eyes, they blink slowly, piercing and intense. The feather tufts twitch, sensing the slightest breeze. A mechanical turn. The head rotates, scanning behind without moving a muscle. The predator is always aware. Feather perfection. Intricate patterns of brown and black create a cloak of invisibility, soft and silent. New life. Fluffy owlets huddle together, sleepy and vulnerable, waiting for the safety of the night to return. Protector. The adult stands guard, a stoic figure against the bokeh of the forest, watching over the future generation. Mist and light. The drone captures the broccoli texture of the canopy, shadows stretching long as the sun dips low. Descending into the green, the light softens as we lower into the understory, entering a world of shadows and dappled rays. Layers of life. Passing vines and broad leaves, we see the depth of the forest, a complex world of mist and shadow. Burst of light. The sun flares through the canopy, illuminating dust motes, dancing in the humid, heavy air. Gardens in the sky. Bromeliads and orchids cling to the branches, wet and glossy, hosting their own tiny ecosystems. A single drop. Water falls in slow motion from a green tip, creating a ripple in the microcosm of the forest floor. Deep in the undergrowth, palms brush the lens as we move through the humid, teeming life of the jungle floor. Velvet green. Moss covers a fallen log, soft and vibrant, a bed for small white mushrooms in the diffused light. Tiny traveler. A shiny beetle navigates the mossy landscape, pausing to clean its antennae on its journey. Busy worker. A small insect frantically collects pollen from a tiny flower, a vital link in the chain of life. Hidden diversity. A montage of tiny lives-red bugs, black ants, millipedes all playing their part on the forest floor. A living leaf. Suddenly, the foliage moves. The katydid reveals itself, a master of disguise in the green world. Nature's mimicry. Its wings are a perfect copy of a leaf, complete with veins and spots of decay. Invisible to the eye. Profile of a mimic. Long antennae twitch as it sits on a stem, blending seamlessly into the soft green background. Lunchtime. Mandibles cut through plant tissue. The herbivore feasts on the very thing it mimics to survive. Inner light. Backlit by the sun, the internal structure of the insect is revealed. Leaf veins indistinguishable from wings. Compound vision. Bright, alert eyes stare back. A slight turn of the head reveals intelligence in the tiny creature. Spiny grip. Long legs hold tight to the stem. The texture of spines and plant surface is sharp and hyperreal. Hidden in plain sight, a predator passes by in the background, completely unaware of the meal sitting right under its nose. Focus shift from the green leaf to the dark web. We transition to the eight-legged architects of the forest. Morning dew. A spider web glistens in a shaft of sunlight, a deadly work of art waiting for its first victim. Ambush artist. The crab spider waits perfectly matched to the plant, front legs extended for the deadly hug. Purple hunt. On a delicate flower, a small spider captures its prey. Life and death play out on a petal. Face of a predator. Multiple eyes reflect the light. Hairy legs and fangs are ready for the kill in extreme detail. Wrapped in silk, the orb weaver spins its prey, encasing the dragonfly in a gleaming shroud of death. Geometric trap. The intricate pattern of the web is revealed. The architect hangs upside down, waiting for a vibration. Struggle and capture. A colorful spider secures a grasshopper. The silk holds strong against the desperate fight. A giant emerges. The Goliath tarantula steps out from the shadows, massive and brown, dominating the forest floor. Heavy steps, tracking at ground level. We feel the weight of the creature as it walks through the leaf litter. Face of a giant. Large fangs and dense hair. It pauses, twitching its palps, sensing the world around it. Jewels of the air. 3 hummingbirds perched together, heads twitching rapidly, bursting with energy even at rest. Tiny home. A mother hovers at her cup-sized nest, landing gently to feed the hungry mouths waiting inside. Nectar delivery. The long beak reaches deep, regurgitating food for the tiny chicks stretching their necks. Brooding beauty. Iridescent feathers shine as she sits on the nest, alert and protective in the swaying breeze. Figure 8. Slow motion reveals the physics of flight. Wings beat in a perfect pattern as the tongue sips nectar. Floral buffet. Moving between red flowers, it hovers briefly, a blur of motion against the vibrant green. Pollen mask. Dusted with yellow, the bird feeds. The throat patch flashes color as it turns in the light. Frozen flight. Super slow motion shows individual feathers. It hovers, then vanishes in an instant dart. Precision, hovering, battling the breeze. It stays perfectly still in midair. A master of aerial maneuvering. Morning, flight. High above the river, the macaws fly across the sky, signaling the start of a new day in the jungle. Affectionate pair, scarlet macaws, preen each other. Gentle nibbles, strengthening the bond between mates. Home in the giant. A pair lands on the pale bark of a massive ceiba tree, returning to their nesting hollow. Safe inside. A head pops out, cautious and watchful. Red feathers contrast sharply with the rough, pale wood. Blue and gold. A flock flies across the canopy, rhythmic wing beats carrying them over the sea of green. Nutcracker. With powerful jaws, a macaw cracks a hard seed, balancing effortlessly as debris falls below. Loud and proud. A profile shot captures the raucous call, tongue moving, sound echoing through the forest. Canopy life. Multiple pairs perch in the trees, a testament to the thriving population during nesting season. Living rainbow. Extreme detail of feathers reveals a vivid gradient from red to yellow to blue, ruffling in the wind. Coming in for a landing, wings spread wide, breaking hard, kicking up dust on the riverbank. The clay lick, a massive wall of red earth, is covered in birds. Red and green macaws cling to the clay. Feeding frenzy. It's a chaotic scene. They scrape and swallow the clay, leaving the wall pitted with marks. Squabble for a spot. Wings flap and beats. Lunge as two birds fight for prime position on the dusty wall. Medicine of the earth. Chewing on clay neutralizes toxins. The bird looks content, covered in red dust. Explosion of color. Startled, the entire flock takes flight at once, filling the air with a kaleidoscope of wings. River flight. We follow the flock low over the water, their shadows racing across the brown surface. Into the hills. Moving away from the river, the landscape turns dense and hilly. Ancient forest shrouded in mist. The giant mouth, a dark sinkhole, opens in the green jungle, a mysterious gateway to the underworld. Descent into darkness, dropping from the bright canopy into the cool, rocky mouth of the cave. Underground world. Wet stalactites glisten in the dim light, hanging like stone icicles from the ceiling. Crystal lake. Deep inside, a turquoise pool reflects the rock formations. The silence here is absolute. Time in a drop. Water drips slowly from a stalactite, catching the light before joining the mineral-rich pool. Cold stream. Moving low over clear water, we see smooth pebbles on the cave floor, lit by an eerie glow. Cathedral of stone. A vast chamber reveals the immense scale of the underground network. Pillars rising to the roof. Painted walls. Layers of sandstone and limestone create a palette of pale yellows and deep ochres, slick with water. Ripples in the dark. A single drop disturbs a small pool. The isolation is palpable in the visual silence. Claustrophobia. Pushing through a narrow passage, shadows dance on the damp walls as the light moves. Hidden falls. Emerging into a chamber, a subterranean waterfall mists the air, a secret wonder in the dark. Life begins. Slimy biofilm coats the wall, the organic base of a food chain that never sees the sun. Microscopic engine. Tiny organisms move in fluid. Chemosynthetic bacteria turning chemicals into energy. Pale grazer. A tiny cave insect feeds on the bacterial mat. Translucent and blind, adapted to the eternal night. Fungal web. Delicate mycelium spreads across a decaying leaf, a sharp contrast between death and new life. Silent waiters. Cave crickets cluster on the wall, long antennae sensing the darkness for movement. Blind swimmer. A tiny white catfish moves slowly in the pool, a ghost in the dark water. Sparkling crystals. Minerals glisten on the ceiling, marking the slow passage of geological time. Colony of life. Dense bacteria pulse in the microscopic view, the primary energy source of this lightless world. Flowing deep, water carries sediment and life deeper into the cave, moving from shallows to still pools. Needles of stone, looking up at sharp stalactites, dramatic shadows stretch across the ceiling. Recycler. A scavenger moves across debris, recycling nutrients in this closed, silent ecosystem. Thick air. Mist swirls in a beam of light, the atmosphere heavy with humidity and isolation. Fade to black, pulling back into total darkness, leaving only the sound of dripping water behind. Ancient breath, underwater. The massive Pirarucu prepares to surface, gills and scales in sharp detail. Gulp of air, breaking the surface. It splashes down, wet scales glistening in the sunlight. The ambush, hovering in the shadows, dark color blending with the roots. It watches a smaller fish. Vacuum trap. In slow motion, the mouth opens instantly. The prey is sucked in, debris clouding the water. Graceful giant, swimming through aquatic plants, its red-tipped tail moves rhythmically in shafts of light. River monsters. Dozens of black caimans bask on the bank, looking like logs in the sun. Just the eyes, a head floats in the water, rough, black, and armored skin. A fly lands on its snout. Walking armor, a caiman moves onto the mud bank, revealing the massive length of its body and tail. Prehistoric skin, macro shot of the bony plates, rugged black and glossy texture. Energy saving, lying still among water hyacinths, reflecting the forest, waiting for the perfect moment. Hidden threat, from above, the caiman is barely visible against the dark water and mud. Perfect camouflage. Cooling down, mouth open, basking in the sun. The interior of the mouth catches the light. The eye of the dragon, vertical pupil, gold and brown iris. The membrane flicks across in extreme close-up. Split world, snout above, body below. The classic posture of a predator in wait. Explosive speed, a lunge from the water, jaws snapping shut. Water splashes violently as prey escapes or is caught. Locking jaws, sharp, interlocking teeth drip with water as they snap shut. The trap is closed. The rains arrive. Heavy drops hit the forest floor, signaling the start of the wet season challenges. Under siege, rain washes over a leafcutter ant mound. Ants scramble to secure the entrance. Saving the fungus. Underground workers move their precious food to drier chambers to escape the flood. Tiny struggle. An ant carries a leaf through giant raindrops, a display of incredible resilience. Chaotic descent. A flock of macaws flutters down to the clay cliff, a colorful cloud against the red earth. Packed wall. Dozens cling to the vertical surface, scraping the soil. Dust floats in the air. Squabbling neighbors, nipping and flashing wings. They fight for the best spot, revealing bright yellow feathers. Red on red. Brilliant plumage contrasts with dry clay. They groom themselves, removing the dust of the cliff. Startled launch, the entire flock takes off at once. A kaleidoscope of color fills the screen. River wolves. Giant otters swim in formation, heads bobbing, creating wakes in the water. Crunch time. An otter holds a fish like a human, eating aggressively as water splashes around its face. Social grooming. Resting on a log, they care for each other's fur, sleek and wet in the sun. Close bond. Cheek to cheek, relaxed and affectionate. The dense fur texture is visible in the sunlight. Family, play. Diving and rolling in the muddy shallows, the family enjoys a moment of fun. Sounding the alarm, head high, mouth open, an otter vocalizes, alerting the group to danger. On land, clumsy but effective, they climb onto the sand, shaking off water, tails dragging behind. Wet whiskers, water droplets cling to the face of a giant otter. Dark eyes look directly at us. Back to the water. Sliding in, they swim away rapidly, moving as a single, efficient unit. Into the brush, tracking through low bushes, we find a collared peccary walking the forest floor. Rooting around, a small group searches for food in the soil, bathed in dappled green light. On the move, following the line of peccaries, their bristle-like fur visible as they trot through the forest. Mineral gathering. The herd crowds a muddy lip, pushing snouts into the earth for nutrients. Muddy snout, chewing and sniffing. The peccary feeds. Coarse hair stands up on its back. Freeze. A huff. A turn. The herd senses danger. Tension fills the air as a predator approaches. Pristine view. High above, the unbroken canopy stretches forever, dense and green under fluffy clouds. Crossing the line, the drone reveals the stark border where green forest ends and brown devastation begins. Cleared land, fallen trees, lie like matchsticks on bare earth. Machinery tracks scar the mud. Ground zero. A fresh stump surrounded by sawdust. The blur of fallen branches tells a tragic story. The scar, a logging road cuts through the jungle, a dusty wound on the landscape. Gathering storm, clouds darken over the deforested land. Bare ground lies vulnerable to the coming rain. Forest on fire. Orange flames consume the undergrowth. Thick smoke rises, obscuring the sun. Up in flames, fire licks the tree trunk. Bark crackles, heat waves distort the air, embers fly. Through the smoke, the drone flies into the haze. The sun is a red orb in an apocalyptic sky. Aftermath. Blackened skeletons stand against grey. Ash covers the ground. A visual silence. Falling ash, snow-like ash, lands on a surviving green leaf. A contrast of fragility and resilience. Poisoned water. Bright orange mud flows into the dark forest river. Silt plumes spread downstream. Dried up, cracked earth replaces flowing water. Fish skeletons lie on the dry mud of a riverbed. Monoculture. Geometric fields replace organic jungle. Vast pastures stretch where trees once stood. Edge effect. Shadows move across the boundary. Trees at the edge look dry and unhealthy compared to the deep forest. Lost home. A displaced animal climbs a lone tree in a cleared area, confused by the empty space. Climate engine. A massive storm moves over the remaining forest, generating its own rainfall. Pouring down, heavy rain hits the lush canopy. Water drips, splashing and moving the vegetation. New life. A green shoot sprouts from charred earth, a symbol of hope illuminated by soft sunlight. Flying back, we return to the healthy rainforest. Grey turns to vibrant green, ending on hope. Dramatic sunset. The sky blazes with orange and purple, reflecting perfectly in the Amazon River. Twilight, silhouette. Palms stand black against deep blue. Birds fly home to roost across the horizon. Starry night. Darkness falls, and the Milky Way emerges, filling the sky above the canopy. Moonlight mist. A full moon rises, casting silver light over the misty forest and glowing river. Ghostly glow. Bioluminescent fungi shine green on a rotting log, mysterious in the dark. Dancing lights. Fireflies blink in the understory. Focus shifts to reveal dozens in the background. Black mirror. High above, the river reflects the moon and stars, winding through a sea of darkness. Dawn breaks. The sky turns pink and gold. Mist rises from the trees, the breath of the forest. Flying rivers. Thick white mist rolls over the green canopy, lit by the first rays of sun. Golden glory. The sun crests the horizon, flooding the landscape with light. The cycle of life renews. The grand scale. Pulling back one last time, we see the curvature of the earth and the importance of this place. Map of life. The view dissolves into a vintage map, zooming out to show the heart of a continent.